as Europe refires its economy and focuses both on green recovery as well as getting manufacturing firing on all cylinders, it's really important we don't have unintended consequences. Europe doesn't supply its own aluminium. We're one of the few manufacturers here in the EU. 6 out of the 7 million tons of aluminium that support European manufacturing are actually imported. Now, the danger is, with the current tariffs and without transparency and without a definition of low carbon aluminium, they actually suck in high carbon aluminium from China rather than a low carbon alternative, even though it's done in the name of many green infrastructure projects or supporting green industries like electric vehicles. So what we're saying is, given the huge differential in different types of aluminium, so Chinese aluminium typically has a carbon footprint of 16 tons versus ours, for example, which is just 2.6 tons. Given this huge differential in carbon footprint, there should be a clear definition of low carbon metals like aluminium and a zero tariff, a free trade, if you will, in low carbon materials that are produced outside Europe. So European manufacturers can get the most efficient and low cost materials they need to drive recovery.
Lord Bach, I've been tracking what you've been up to over at Rusal with this low-carbon aluminium, and it's been an interesting journey for the business. If we look at what's happening at a European level so far, fleshed out in the European budget was mainly a focus on tariffs and carbon trading credits, so allowing some of the big polluters to keep on doing what they're doing and just offset it with buying some carbon credits. Are you saying that doesn't go far enough now? It's very much a European solution that we've seen before.
Absolutely, because there's not enough transparency in the carbon footprint of many of the important materials that support European manufacturers like aluminium. We need to be clear that in revving up the economy, we're not just sucking in high carbon materials from other parts of the world. There's no point Europe, for example, turning off its coal-fired power stations if they're just ramping them up in another part of the world, in China particularly. So what we're saying is, let's have a zero tariff on low carbon metals like aluminium, and let's have clear transparency on the supply chain for both businesses and consumers, and let's have a proper definition of what low carbon aluminium means across the EU, and we'll sign up for whatever the Commission decides. So it's very clear. Let's have a green recovery, but let's not sleepwalk into just sucking in high carbon imports, through the unintended consequences of this green recovery package.
There are some mixed signals out there. What we've heard from the French, from President Macron, has been creating some sort of a battery market here for electric cars, so a new ecosystem as part of some of the recovery initiatives. So that would be encouraging if we're trying to take down the carbon impact for new vehicles. But on the other side, you can see that the motivation around this recovery fund that the Europeans are coming up with is to try and rescue industries. And we know that if you change the playing field, you change the regulation, it can create more uncertainty and have unintended consequences. So are you concerned that maybe European leaders might step back from too much change at this point?
Well, I think we've got to be careful about unintended consequences. And at the moment, we have a really big unintended consequence, is that we don't differentiate between the tariffs on high carbon products and low carbon products, which are essential to import for European manufacturers. So you're absolutely right. But we also know that long-term regulation, for example, around automotive vehicles and efficiency, can actually be a driver of change and a driver of growth. So smart regulation is actually a good thing. And I think what we're calling for today in our green aluminium vision is exactly that. Free trade in low carbon materials, full transparency on carbon footprint, so businesses and consumers can make means. Don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. Let's get something up and running this summer as part of the EU consultation on these things, and drive it forward this autumn as part of the green recovery. Everyone wants to build back better. And today, the N+ Group is coming up with some very practical suggestions that can be implemented now on how we can do that and do it more efficiently to protect those jobs here in Europe.